Crash Course Live is presented by
Smash It Demolition Derby, who host Bash for Cash, Blizzard Bash, and Capital City Carnage. Online at smashitderby.com. And Stirring Dirt Racing, host of Maymania's team show at the Golden Spike Arena in Ogden, Utah. Online at stirringdirtracing.com.
Reckless Abandon Derby Apparel and Derby Inc. Magazine. This is the Crash Course Demolition Derby podcast, recorded live at the FingerLakes1.com studios in downtown Seneca Falls, New York. And now your host, Chris Marquardt.
Good afternoon, good evening, and welcome to Crash Course Demolition Derby podcast. Here we are live once again from the FingerLakes1.com studios. Excited to have everybody along for the ride. Got a rapid fire event lined up for everybody here this evening. Candice Jo is going to be joining us here in just a few minutes to talk about the season finale for the Domination Motorsports season. They're going to have their points championship coming up on Saturday in Hawarden, Iowa. I trust she'll be able to correct our pronunciation on that just as soon as we get her on the line. She's waiting in the wings. She kindly stayed after work for us so she would have a good cell phone connection. After that, we're going to talk to Justin CountryBoy Smith. Justin Smith, we alluded to him on Thursday last week during episode 239, this here episode 240. We talked about him and his involvement in trying to increase the level of professionalism and increase the expectations, if you will, at the Paige Valley Fair, which is in Luray, Virginia. That happened over the weekend, 60 cars in action there, and they had about 20 Power Wheels. We'll be touching base with him, and then we're going to wrap up our hour together with one Dave Diver of Big Rock Derby Products. We're going to be talking with him about Hillbilly Heaven, which is, I can't believe it, because it was a couple weeks ago, it was like, oh, that's a ways off, no big deal. September the 15th at the Columbiana County Fairgrounds in Lisbon, Ohio. That is on deck. It's a demolition derby and a cook-off. We'll be able to get some of those details with him. G-Limit Productions working with Big Rock, and I believe Mark Elliott, Demolition Derby announcing, is going to be involved with that one as well. I saw some posts from Mark Elliott on the page here as we were working through the opening parts and pieces of our pre-production, getting ready to go live here tonight with you again for a quick hour of Demolition Derby talk. Happening right now, virtually as we speak, is the opening round of inspections down there with Jason Penny Shipe and JPG Towing overseeing the Demolition Derby events for the Shenandoah County Fair. Stock night tonight, Mark Wolf's car that we talked about last Thursday when we had that special edition is going to be in competition tomorrow at the Shenandoah County Fair in Woodstock. We're going to be back down there again in a couple weeks on October the 20th with what is probably going to end up being one of the final Crash Course live events. We're going live to tape with that one, just with the failures and the damages and the issues that we've had. I think it's best for us to take some time off, some time away, rebuild, try and do more with the troubleshooting. We've had more products go down. It's getting to the point where it's going to be just way more expensive than it's worth to try and rebuild and get everything back up on its feet. As you can see, we haven't cut away to introduce anybody. We're flying solo again this evening. I wanted to have somebody else here to sort of share some of this news with everybody. But at this point, there's going to be nothing planned live between tonight and October the 20th. And again, October the 20th is going to be done on a very modest platform. We did do some further testing with that backup unit. The backup unit that we've got is great for graphic design. It just doesn't hold up when we tax it real heavy with some of the multiple camera inputs. And I'd rather not sacrifice things. And furthermore, I don't want to put that computer at risk and potentially damage our ability to take care of some of the graphic stuff as well. So at this point, our final live appearance is going to be October the 20th for the foreseeable future, at least until we get everything put back together to a point where I feel confident that we can go out there and do it the right way. We've been in contact with a couple of promoters and some friends and family that we tried to preface it here for a little bit so that they kind of knew that was coming. In terms of the future, right now the plan is that we're going to continue to be a studio show. The intention is to continue to bring you guys weekly conversation about Demolition Derby and talk with you a little bit about what's happening in and around the country to maintain that foothold and maintain the information sharing that we've done since the get-go. This is coming up on an anniversary episode. Actually, we've passed it. As a matter of fact, we passed it. I believe it was somewhere around the 13th of August when we started this, so it would have marked 5 years. So beginning now our 6th year of doing this, it's been a lot of fun. It's something that we want to continue to do. At the same time, we need to do it with a degree of I don't know. We got to make sure we're doing it the right way. Got to keep our focus on what's best for everybody, and if we got to moderate that a little bit, then so be it. Just so that we can continue putting everything together out there as professionally and cleanly as possible. So, with that being said, you guys got to watch me work the phones, which I've come to be somewhat adept at over all this time in the studio. And we're going to get Candice on the line to talk a little bit about Domination Motorsports. Domination Motorsports, their finale is September the 1st in Hawarden, Iowa. Starts at 5 o'clock. A bunch of different divisions there. Inspection times run from noon to 3. You must be in the line by 3 o'clock in order to get teched. So, putting their foot down on that. And one of the things that we wanted to ask Candice about when we get her on the line is to check in about that topic. There's Candice right there. Pop her into the handy-dandy headset. The headset rig that we have for the phones is actually literally just that. It's a roll of tape sitting underneath a set of headsets when the phone sits in it and leans up against a microphone so everybody can hear. And it works perfectly just about every time. How's Candice tonight?
Good. How are you?
We're doing okay. Thanks for staying after a little bit at the shop. I was a little disappointed we couldn't come together to make things work last Thursday, but it seems like this almost panned out to be on the better side of things since you were already at the shop and able to just tack a little bit of time on the end of your day. So thanks for hanging out. But the Points Championship coming together for Domination Motorsports. Did the year go by as fast as it seemed?
Yeah. I mean, I was thinking the other day that it's like, holy crap, we're almost done.
Is it a relief to have it done, or is it sad to see it go? Bittersweet? I mean, what are some of your thoughts right now?
It's kind of bittersweet. Some days I'm thinking I just wish it was over, but then I think at the same time it's been fun. We've had some awesome shows so far. We've had a lot of people traveling, and I really can't complain at all for the whole season.
On the show poster that you put out there for the Derby coming up, championship on Saturday the 1st, that is got a note on it about you have to be in line by 3 o'clock in order to get teched. How's that rule been received, and how's it been in terms of enforcement? Have you had to put anybody on the shelf because they didn't get in line in time?
No, I always say I'll never turn a car away, but we did have some issues at the beginning of the season where people would show up late, so I finally said, we have to put our feet down because it's not fair for the guys that are teching all day to tech right up until the time that the show starts, and they don't even get a minute to breathe before getting up on the berm to flag the rest of the night, because we have a small, tight-knit group that we both tech, and they both go up on the berm, so they don't get much time to breathe in between time. So once we started enforcing that, it was a little bit better. We still have some people once in a while that show up late, but as long as they call, we're okay with that, as long as we know they're still coming.
The show itself, serving again as the Points Championship, it's got some meat to it. It's going to be a busy afternoon of action. We'll get this adjusted here so you can see most of his stuff there. Modified, $1,400 to win there. Limited welds, $1,200 to win. Compacts on the card for $850 to win. Street stocks, going to win $900. Hobo, $700 to win. Front wheel drive Hobo class, $400 to win. And then the power wheels, limiting it now from ages 4 to 9. Then there's the throwback class, $200, $100, $150. There's a ladies heat. The leftover heat, you guys are going to be there for a little bit. There's a ton of action on the card.
Yeah, that was one thing with it being the points finale. We kind of wanted to offer every class that we offer, just give the people a chance to finish off their cars if needed. Little did I know that a few months later, we would be adding another show for the day after as a cleanup show. It's not part of the point series. It's just a show that's local around here that is looking for a little bit of stability with having a set of rules and a good set of techs. Had we known about that, we probably could have split up the classes a little bit and maybe paid a little bit more and had, 2 less of nights. But all in all, it's going to work out and it's going to be great.
How's the point series been received? I mean, you're able to inherit something that was turnkey. You've gone so far as to make it your own. You've added some fares this year with the conversations and feedback that we've got both from you directly and some of the drivers that are working with you, some of the folks that are out in that neck of the woods. It sounds like the fares that you've got are already ready to sign up for 2019. It seems like, for all the naysayers a couple years ago that said Derby's in trouble, the sport's pretty healthy, and what you've got going out there is working pretty well.
Yeah, I can't believe the amount of feedback that we've gotten this year, both, good and, some corrective criticism, but you're always going to have that. And it's crazy the amount of shows that call almost daily, interested in 2019, whether they were shows that we had this year or shows looking into next year. I'd love to be able to do them all, but there's no way that, with running a business myself, plus trying to run a Derby business, that we'd be able to get them all in, and I wouldn't want to do that to the drivers or techs, but, we obviously are doing something right if these shows are calling. And the point series this year has been awesome, from guys traveling from Missouri and Minnesota, Iowa. I mean, I can't be any happier for how it's gone. And the point series, we changed it up a little bit this year due to having more shows. The drivers can take their top 6 finishes in both the limited weld and modified classes. 3 of those can be the 3 double point shows. 3 can be single points. Mm-hmm. And it's really worked out well for them. A lot of them have ran almost every show that we've had, if not all of them. So I can't be any more happy about the support that we've gotten this year for our first year as Domination. So
you've got these guys that are able to claim between 2 different classes for a single points championship, so they don't necessarily have to kill themselves and build only modified cars all summer or only Band-Aid cars together all summer. They can build a fresh stock car and run that a couple times, and that gives them the ability to put those towards the same points fund.
Correct. Honestly, there's only been 2 drivers that have ran both classes because one of their other cars has been bad. A lot of the guys have been running the same cars all season.
Right.
And, a lot of some of the shows have been light for them, but some of them haven't been. So the amount of runs that they're getting out of their cars to get to the top of the points is awesome.
That's huge in this climate. I mean, that really is an important part of it, is being able to get multiple runs out of a car. When you're building the heavy stuff, when you sink that much investment into a car, some of these cars are most of these cars, at least in the modified class, correct me if I'm wrong, are leftover Blizzard Bash type builds, right?
Yeah, they all, pretty much all of them are. I think we only had a few fresh built modified cars for this year. The rest of them have all been, pre-rans from Blizzard Bash or Carnage. So, right. At least they're getting full whole lives out of those cars that they're putting all the work in to go to Blizzard Bash. And, they might have had to restub them, or they, piecing some things together, but they're still trucking through them. Right.
So in terms of what we can expect this weekend in Hawarden, inspection opens up at noon. The Derby's supposed to start at 5 o'clock. There's tons of action on the card. What should folks expect to see in terms of what they've got on track?
Well, the guys that are in the top 5 or even in the top 10, there's not very many points between them. So, it's really going to be how everybody ends up is going to help where they're going to end up in the points. And, there's not only is there money on the line of the Demolition Derby itself, but, there's a good chunk and change and prizes just within the point series itself. So, these guys are going to bring their friends out and try to get
right
where they can in the placings to see where they're going to finish. And the greatest thing about it is the guys that are in the top points are all friends.
Right.
So, they're going to go out there, they're going to have to beat each other up in order to get that one step higher in the points. And,
sure.
in the past we've seen these guys, a lot of these same guys that have ran before, and at the end of Hawarden or the end of the points finale, they're getting out shaking hands, and, and that's the greatest part of the point series.
And the point fund, they're splitting up $6,500, and then they've got $2,000 set aside for the winner plus the jacket.
Yep, and a trophy, and they get their hotels paid for the Derby banquet, and just some other little things.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Derby banquet, how's that coming together for this year?
Haven't even started it.
Well, your season is going to end basically this weekend, and then your second season kicks up with Blizzard Bash waiting just about 2 months away. Have you put any thought into Blizzard Bash? That's a year-round entity. There's really no off season for that one.
Right. I always say I work 365 days a year on Blizzard Bash. Some days more than others. Right now, it's just really the whole planning process. I think Tim probably gets a couple text messages a day from me that says, "Hey, call me." It's new for them this year by themselves, but so far they're doing great, and we have good communication, and like I said, it's just in the planning process right now, trying to get teams finalized, and trying to get vending stuff set up, and some little things for the show as far as arena things, and I have some other things up my sleeve that I'd like to do for production-wise for the show this year to make it a even better experience than it has before. Just stuff like that takes a lot of time that some people don't realize, and some people realize and still don't get it. It's just crazy what it goes into that show.
Yeah, it's certainly not a molehill that turns into a mountain. It is a mountain with no question.
Yeah.
It takes 365 days to climb it, and usually long about, seems like Friday afternoon out there at Blizzard Bash, when everybody's getting ready for round 2, there's already discussions happening about what's happening for the following year. So Friday 2018, there's already going to be conversations about 2019 happening.
Right. Well, and you always live and learn about something. If something doesn't go exactly right how you want it to, even though you've done it 100 times, something to look at for the next time to, try and make it that much better or that much easier, or, better for the drivers or better for the fans. And, it's just something that is always in the back of my mind of how can we make this better? There's got to be something that we can do to make everything better. Not necessarily possible, but
much like Tim and Russ with Smash It, this being their first Blizzard Bash flying solo, this was your first year flying solo with Domination under that branding and everything. What were you able to implement that was of your idea, your hatching, that you wanted to put into place? What worked? Is there anything that didn't, or anything that really sort of surprised you about this year with Domination standing on its own?
Really, with working with Sam for, all of those years, we pretty much had, a way of doing it, and we worked well together. We both did what we did, and, the last couple of years, Sam trusted me, with a lot more of the stuff, so I ran a lot of the things how I felt that they should go. So going into this year, it was a lot of the same things. I would say that the only biggest difference was that when someone was mad, I got to hear about it myself, and I was the only one that needed to deal with it. Before, if something arose, it was something that we could talk about together, whereas this time, the decisions are made by yourself. Is
it fewer people getting upset the longer you've been around it, and it seems like it's the people that are from the outside that are more quick to lose their cool or to have an opinion on something?
I honestly believe it's a lot of the heat of the moment stuff, and I totally understand it because we've all been there. And usually the people that get heated, you consider a friend, or, you've known them for a long time, and they might get heated in the minute, and for the longest time I'd keep it, I'd take it to heart, but in the same sense, they realize what happened, and and then they accept it,
Right.
or they respect you more. I think the biggest thing is a lot of these people have known that I've done it for a long time, and they respect the time and effort and whatever else I put into it. So I think they, once they think about it, they're fine.
Most of the stuff have to do with shots on the left side and how many seconds are in a minute?
A lot have to, yes. It's all about a call. That's usually what people are upset
Right.
about. And like I said, I've been a driver. I get it. And it's the part of the job. You have to be the bad person. You have to make it fair. You have to make the right call. And in the end, most people respect it because you made the right call.
On the topic of being a driver, you and Jamie Frost sharing a weekend in Victory Lane a couple weeks back.
We did. I hadn't driven for a year, and Kevin Ullman said, let's take a car to Nebraska, and I walked away with a win. It was a fun run, and we actually ran again on Saturday. I rode passenger, and Kevin drove, and we won there too. So I'm going to mark that up as 2 wins for the season.
That's not bad. I can't believe it's been a year. I wouldn't have guessed that it was over a year that you'd been in a car.
Yeah, I didn't run at all last year, and the year before that I ran, and before that I hadn't ran for like 5 years. So it's kind of hard to promote and run at the same time when
Sure.
every show in your area is your own show.
Right. How many of the drivers that you're on track with Kevin in those runs were also your pool of drivers, even though you're running at a different promoter show?
The run that I ran by myself and won, none of the drivers really run any of my shows. One of them had ran a couple of them at the beginning of the season.
Yeah.
But it was out in Nebraska, so it's kind of hard for them to come
Sure.
every weekend. And then this last weekend when we went out to Missouri, the show actually used to be mine, and a different promoter got it this year. So we went out and ran it instead, and there wasn't anybody in that class besides the 2 cars that we took that run my shows. So it was kind of nice it was nice and hard being the outsiders.
Right.
Who were rough on us.
Well, I can see where there's also going to be some challenges being the promoter who's now in a car against the people that you're overseeing on a weekly basis, too.
Right.
Who do you hit first and who do you hit last,
Yeah. So luckily I didn't run into that, but
Didn't have to.
it was fun, that's for sure.
You going to be able to run again before Blizzard Bash gets here?
No, most of the shows around here are filing down.
Yeah.
And then it's just basically going to be working on Blizzard Bash stuff till the time comes.
Awesome. Hawarden, did I say it right that time? Hawarden?
Hawarden, yep.
Hawarden, Iowa, the site of the Domination Motorsports Championship coming up Saturday the 1st. 5 o'clock start time there. A bunch of different divisions on deck. We've got the modifieds, limited welds, compact, street stocks, hobo class, front wheel drives, power wheels, the throwback class, ladies only, heat. So there's plenty of action. There's something for everybody. Get your cars out, bring them over, check out the action there in Hawarden. I'm trying to make up for all the times I mispronounced it in the first half of the show. Hawarden.
I didn't even notice.
But Candice Jo going to be overseeing that. Stop by, say hi to her, get a bunch of your information together for Blizzard Bash, and also if you got anything left, stick around. She's got more details for you on Saturday about the Derby coming up on Sunday as well. Non-point event, so the season is going to end Saturday. Somebody's walking home with a giant trophy, the jacket, $2,000 share of that $6,500 purse. Candice, anything that we missed? Anybody that you want to make a mention of?
I just want to thank my crew. I mean, they have worked their tails off this summer. I mean, I have family members and friends that that go to every show to try and make it the best that we can, and they're wasting their summer away just trying to fulfill my dream is pretty much how I look at it, and they do an awesome job. So I can't thank them enough. And I mean, really, that's the drivers, of course. If it wasn't for the drivers, we wouldn't have these shows, and the ones that keep coming back every week to put on a great show is definitely the cream of the crop for that.
Awesome. Well, have you told them yet that you're planning on doubling the season next year?
I don't know if I could even go for doubling the season.
Well, I wish you the best this weekend. Have a ton of fun, first and foremost. Make sure you stay safe and hand out some hardware. We look forward to seeing you soon.
Yeah, thank you. Thanks for having me on.
For sure. We'll see you in a bit.
Sounds good.
Take care, Candice.
Yeah, bye.
Big bang. There goes Candice Jo. Checking in about the action in Hawarden, Iowa. Again, September the 1st, 5 o'clock start time there. A couple news and notes to get to here before we get Dave Diver on. He's got a bowl tonight, so we're going to shuffle it. Fulton Speedway had a demolition derby over the weekend, and Paul Owen came away with the win in the 4- and 6-cylinder class. Second place went to Caleb McNitt. Wade King taking third place. Joe Riccio came with the win in the trucks and vans heat. Tommy Goodspeed ended up taking the win, took the win, getting all tongue-tied. Took second place in the trucks and vans. Derek Widrick took third place in trucks and vans as well. Again, that was over at the Fulton Speedway with King Smash 'em Crash 'em Demolition Derby. David Diver joining us now on the line. G-Limit and Big Rock going to come together to host Hillbilly Heaven September the 15th. It's at the Columbiana County Fairgrounds in Lisbon, Ohio. Dave, how are you?
I'm doing good. How are you doing?
We're doing all right. How's bowling coming?
Oh, well, we'll let you know this is the first night, so.
This is the first night. The other league ended then?
Yeah, the other league ended, and we're starting our fall leagues now, so.
How'd the summer league go? Did you win?
We did all right. Not too great, but, I guess that's a team thing, so.
Right.
We got to have good team members to win.
Well, we wish you the best in your bowling league. Your Demolition Derby's coming up. Got the cook-off coming up. There's so much stuff going on with this thing. It's going to be an all-day event, and now with some of the other stuff that's going on the same day, the 5-minute interval raffles that you've got planned are going to go from 3 o'clock until 6 o'clock. There's every division you can think of for Demolition Derby action. This is going to be a good one.
Yeah, it's going to be great. As we were talking, you got to have a good team to win and have a good show. I have probably one of the best teams that I could ask for helping me out that weekend. As far as inspectors, as my partner Justin, and everybody that's involved, we have the best of the best that's helping us out that weekend, and I think everybody's going to be impressed and have a good weekend.
The event itself starts at 10 o'clock in the morning. It's virtually an all-day festival. The big thing is that cook-off. How's the cook-off going to be done in conjunction with the Demolition Derby? I'm pretty confident that you're not using any derby motors and running stacks into the smokers, right?
No. There's actually a bunch of complications with that right now. As a lot of the guys that wanted to cook wanted it to be part of a sanction thing for the barbecue pitmasters. The other half wanted it for another sanction thing. So we're not sure where that's going on right now, because
sure.
if we do it, half of them said they weren't coming because they're not belong to this sanction. It's worse than derby drivers, honestly. I mean, they cry and whine more than anybody.
I almost can't believe that, but at the same time, as serious as that game gets, I suppose that I'm willing to believe anything. The Derby itself starts at 4:30. It's only $12 to get in the grandstands. There's activities going on all through the day. There's the vendors that are going to be on the grounds. They're going to be involved with firearm trades. There's the trucks, trailers, and outdoor recreation vehicles that are going to be on display. If I remember right, you've got a car show going on in conjunction with it, like a show and shine event as well.
Yeah, we're having all that stuff. And plus, in downtown, there's the Johnny Seed Apple Festival.
Okay.
Same day. So, I mean, there's a bunch of stuff to do all within a 5-minute radius of that, and plus at the fairgrounds. It's going to be an all-day event. You can come out, enjoy your day. The raffle starts at 3. It goes all the way till 6 o'clock, and it's every 5 minutes. Tickets are still on sale for those, and we're going to have tickets there to sell. If anybody wants to get a hold of me, I can get them tickets through PayPal or however you want to do it.
Okay.
But I mean, it'd be nice to walk home with a brand new side-by-side Polaris, a Polaris side-by-side, or a Can-Am side-by-side, or an enclosed trailer, or even the last prize of the day, $10,000 cash.
Yeah, you can't go wrong with that. And these raffles are going to be going off every 5 minutes. And that's just a small sampling of the items that are going to be given away. Turning our focus instead now to the part that is closest to your heart, the Demolition Derby itself, starting at 4:30. What can fans expect in terms of the Demolition Derby out there?
Oh man, I'm having a lot of calls from people that I would never even think about coming to a fall show anyway.
Right.
But I think it's going to be epic. It's going to be great. A lot of good cars, a lot of good drivers are going to show up, and like I said, I have the best of the best helping me inspect. As in Toby Hiley's my head inspector, so if anybody wants the rules or questions about that, get a hold of Toby. Bobby Brockway, we might even put him on a pedestal and let him sign autographs for a couple of hours.
That'd be cool.
Yeah, I know. And Jim Youngblood, we have Mark Elliott coming to announce.
Mm-hmm.
So we have a bunch of people that's definitely top-notch people to help us.
That's awesome. Bobby would love that. If you gave him the chance to sign autographs, you might not see him the rest of the day. Yeah, I'm afraid of that. He's going to come. He's going to come down the night before, I think, and stay the night with me and everything at my house, and we're just going to catch up on some old times. We haven't seen each other since the Bash, and he's a real close friend of mine. I'm excited to see him come down. Bobby Brockway. He's a guy that you've known for a long time. Another one is Jim Youngblood. Jim Youngblood's been part of your operations for as long as I've known you. How did you and Jim get to know each other to begin with?
It was actually funny because, like our local derbies, I never ran derbies at the time because I was a professional motocross rider, so I wasn't allowed. And my brothers and him and his brother, they hated each other. Well, I guess they had a wagon for sale, and Jim wanted to buy it. So I told him, I said, yeah, just come on, follow me to my house. And the rest is history. The next thing I know, he's asking me if I want to weld on his car and stuff. So he's been my best friend for years now. It's kind of weird.
Right. And between Jim, Toby, and Bobby, I don't think there's a type of car that doesn't fall within their areas of expertise to have a look at. So in terms of your inspection, I got a feeling that it's going to be pretty even. And if those were the guys involved in writing the rule book, it should be pretty clear what they can and can't do.
Yeah, like I said, then we have Billy Eastep, that he's going to come down and help with us.
Right.
And we also have Bo Lockwood. He's coming down to inspect with us.
Cool.
So there's not going to get, between Bobby, Billy, Jim, and Toby, there's not much that they don't know and what should be there and what shouldn't be there. And they've done every trick in the book, and we just want a fair derby, and because some derbies are getting way out of hand, and we want to be able to have everybody come there and feel like they have a fair shot at winning that show, and not have to worry about this guy's loaded, I'm going to get junked. That's our goal, is to make it a fairest derby as possible and make everybody happy when they leave there at night.
Right. Again, just to hit on it again, it is going to be September the 15th. The gates open at 10 o'clock. Derby set for 4:30. A couple of the giveaways so that everybody knows there's a total of over $100,000 in prizes, starting with some of the raffles, where one of them is going to be a 2018 Can-Am Outlander, the side-by-side. 12:30 is $300 cash. At 1 o'clock is another $350 cash. And 12:50 there's a Savage 110 Trophy Hunter being given away. At 3 o'clock there's a 2018 John Deere Gator. Again, there's basically going to go every few minutes. At one of the other prizes, $1,000 cash. Late in the going, there's a AR-15 rifle being raffled off. There's a Glock that's going to be raffled off, and the final one to be given away again is that $10,000 cash. I lost the page. There it is. I'm trying to find more on the Derby
there's
itself.
There's actually two Can-Am Outlanders being raffled off.
Is there?
Yeah, there's two of them. Those are being raffled off. I think it's a 24-foot V-nose enclosed trailer.
Jeez.
That's being raffled off. Like I said, there's going to be some people leaving there that's very happy just because of showing up and buying a $50 ticket.
Turn it into some money.
Where else can you go and buy a 2018 Can-Am Outlander for $50?
Right. You can't. I don't think it's possible. Now without going to jail. The Derby itself, mild weld, compacts, 80s wire class youth, the kicker class, and the Power Wheels. Kicker class sort of following the same idea of what we see in the kicker class at Bash for Cash, mild weld, a little bit detuned from what used to be the old iron class at Bash for Cash.
Actually, it's the same exact rules, as the turn back the clock.
Okay.
The mild weld is smash it fair rules. So if you ran turn back the clock class and you have that car still alone, bring it on down. You're able to run that class. I like I said when we first did this, I called Tim up from Smash It and I asked him if I could use his rules because he has every derby around here as county fairs and stuff. And me and Tim are pretty good friends, and he said, sure, go ahead and use them, So I picked the ones that I knew would be around this area and that would draw some people around. Mm-hmm. And everyone seems to like it. I also told them that I had a couple inquiries about a minivan derby.
Mm-hmm.
I told them if we get 6 minivans, that we'd run the minivans too.
Sure.
So I'm waiting to hear back from those drivers. I don't know if you ever seen a minivan derby, but it's pretty neat,
mm-hmm.
To watch those guys go at it.
Yeah, I've seen a couple of minivan derbies in my time. Yeah, they are a lot of fun, and it seems like the Chrysler Town and Countries and the Dodge Caravans, they can take the most abuse. A couple of times we've seen those with their straight axle in the rear end, and the leaf springs are puckered right up, and the backs are jacked way up in the air. We've seen minivans win SUV derbies. We've even seen minivans win full-size truck derbies just because the front-wheel drive, they can protect it, they can take a ton of abuse in the back, and they can hold up. In terms of the compact side of things, at Hillbilly having on the 15th of September, that compact rule going to be following the lines of what Smash It has as well?
Yes.
Yeah.
Every rule that I'm following this year is Smash It rules.
That makes it very easy.
Yeah, it makes it easy because, like I said, they have all the fairs around here. So why would I go and change up all the rules and then make people cut their cars apart? Now, there's a couple guys that have those mod compacts that are really heavy built.
Sure.
And they said that they're going to try and get them through. Well, they will not get through because I don't want loaded up stuff in my show.
Right. It does keep that easy. It's funny you say mild weld, and it's the Bash for Cash old iron rules. It's such a different world in that part of Ohio where you're going to have that, but it's going to be an awesome show front to back. I mean, with all the different divisions that you've got there, and folks that like to see cars that are waffled and turned inside out, there's an element of that for them as well with the wire class, and then the Power Wheels. You can never go wrong with that.
Yeah, no, I mean, a lot of the kids are excited, to run the Power Wheels, and I think the adults down in this area get more involved in the Power Wheels than they do the big cars anymore.
Right.
To see the kids' expressions when they get hit or when their batteries die,
Right. I believe that. I believe that. Good to have Mark Elliott on board as well. And again, you got a great group of folks that are inspecting you. Jump online and look up on Facebook Hillbilly Heaven, or go to the Big Rock products page on Facebook, and you can find all the information specific to the Demolition Derby. Of course, you can always message Dave Diver directly if you need direction on where to go. Dave, I know you've got the bowling stuff coming up and you got to get going. Is there anybody that you wanted to make mention of here before we let you go?
I'd just like to thank everybody that's going to come support it, and everybody that's bought tickets so far. A lot of this stuff is going to charity that we are doing, the Heroes and Halos. Mm-hmm. And I'd like to thank all those people that bought tickets. I'd like to thank my inspection crew that's going to be there to help me all on Saturday, and like to thank Justin Garwood, obviously, for this opportunity, because if it wasn't for me and him, together, I don't think we could come up with a great show like what we're going to have.
Sure. It's going to be a barn burner. September the 15th, Columbiana County Fairgrounds. The Derby starts at 4:30. It's in Lisbon, Ohio. Jump online, Hillbilly Heaven or Big Rock Productions page on Facebook. You can find more info. Dave, good luck with opening night tonight. Keep me posted how the bowling goes.
All right, thanks.
We'll see you later.
Thanks for having me on tonight.
For sure. Bye now. Dave Diver. We're going to run through a couple quick ad spots here, and then we're going to get Justin CountryBoy Smith on the line. That's how we're going to do that. Stern Dirt Racing, their next big show is coming up on September the 8th. It's the West Jordan Beatdown in West Jordan, Utah. $30,000 payout. It's a four-man team derby. The four-man teams are allowed 2 Imperials per quartet. Heavy Iron and the farm trucks are on the card for that one. $30,000, not a bad payday. September the 14th is the Day of Reckoning, the Utah State Fair, Days of 47 Arena in Salt Lake City, Utah. $50,000 total payout, $8,000 to win stock class. The first 24 cars to pass tech get $1,000 back. You can't argue with that either. SternDirtRacing.com online for additional details. $4,000 and $2,000 set aside for each of the top 2 winners in the Mad Dogs voting. So that is, again, Day of Reckoning, $50,000 total payout at the Utah State Fair with Stern Dirt Racing. Smash It Demolition Derbies, they've got, looks like 4 derbies left before they start worrying about Blizzard Bash with their full focus. The crew is going to be in action on Sunday at the Stark County Fair in Canton, Ohio, 7 o'clock start time there. Smash It Leaf class, compacts, full-size trucks, stock wire class, and Power Wheels showing the way there September the 3rd. That is Labor Day Monday. Stark County Fair in Canton, Ohio, 4 o'clock start time. Smash It Leaf class, compacts, compact trucks, the stock wire class, and Power Wheels on the order there. September the 22nd, Ashland County Fair in Ashland, Ohio, 5 o'clock start. That's the street stocks, the 80s wire, the compacts, trucks, youth, and Power Wheels on the menu for the folks in Ashland, Ohio. Again, 5 o'clock start on the 22nd of September. And on the 13th of October, that's the Fall Cleanup Derby, 6 o'clock start at the Fayette County Fairgrounds in Washington Courthouse, Ohio. Bring the car. They'll find some place for you to run. Full-size cleanup, compact cleanup, mild weld, street stocks, mowers, and Power Wheels. Additional details online, smashitderby.com. September the 1st, that is Saturday. It's the GDS Fair in Newfoundland, Pennsylvania, economy V8 class and the compact class, both paying $1,200 to win. The Bone Stock V8 and the Bone Stock 4 and 6 cylinder classes paying $500 to win each. The Youth Economy Stock paying $500 to win. The Figure 8 Economy Compact class is paying $250, and it also gets you a feature spot in that Compact Championship, the Compact Economy Championship. That gives you a shot in there, so you can take home a little bit of money if you win that Figure 8 race and also double down and win the Economy Compact feature as well. Total money there, you're looking at $1,450. Full-size trucks, money's to be decided still. Limited weld V8, it's going to be 100% of the entry. So all the cars that come in, they're going to pay their entry fees, and that'll be paid back out. 100% payback in the limited welds. October the 6th, the San Filippo Smash. The traction that's been gaining the most momentum right now is that gold iron class. It's like pre-1959 and older. Seen a lot of pictures of 2- and 4-door Buicks from 55 to 57 variety that's making a lot of those hot rodders upset. But, hey, if they're too rusted out to fix, you might better let them get derbied before you feed them to the crusher, and or just put them in the front yard and plant flowers around them and get out the money and turn it into an elaborate addition to your garden. Otherwise, there's no better way for a car to go out. More than 200 entries are expected on the course of the day. The 2-man extreme class is out there. The Power Wheels are on the card. Bring the car. The officials are going to find some place for you to run. Anything left at the end can go for that San Filippo Cup, the fundraiser for MPS 3A Research. There is the point of this gigantic demolition derby that's held at the Otsego County Fairgrounds in Morris, New York. They have a goal of $50,000 online, SpinningWheelsProductions.com. Brookfield Wheel Days is coming up around the corner, September the 29th, the date there. Madison County Fairgrounds in Brookfield, New York. We told you about King Smash 'em Crash 'em a little bit ago, with Paul Owen winning the 4s and 6s at Fulton and Joe Riccio winning the trucks class. Both of those divisions are going to be part of the Brookfield Wheel Days event. Again, Madison County Fairgrounds, Brookfield, New York. Over 150 entries typically show up. There's a class for the full-size cars and the large frame 6-cylinders. The Imperials also run with them. The Imperials have a qualifying heat unto themselves. There's a flight for the full-size trucks, a flight for vans and SUVs. There's a compact division, something for everybody at Brookfield Wheel Days on the 29th of September. King Smash from Crash from Demolition Derbies oversees it. Find them on Facebook, facebook.com/King Smash from Crash'em, or find MadisonCountyFairNY.com for additional rules and details. We're going to be talking more about Chaos in the Valley in a second, so let's jump to this one. We talked with Candice Jo about Blizzard Bash. That's knocking on the door real quick. November the 7th is opening round of heat draws and the pit party after tech inspection from 7 to 10 in the show area. November the 8th is the first round of qualifying for both the national bracket and that qualifying team bracket. And that starts at 4 o'clock on November the 8th. November the 9th is the national and qualifying second round. And then we've also got the limited weld and compact team heat draws scheduled for earlier in the day on the 9th. November the 10th is the doubleheader. Compact and limited weld team heats, the order of the morning at 10 a.m. And then at 6 o'clock is all the Team B features, trucks, and limited weld one-and-done events. November the 11th at 1 o'clock, the start of Championship Sunday. We've got the Bone Stock and the 80s mod class, and then all the Team A mains online for additional details, blizzardbash.com. And we're going to be talking to Justin CountryBoy Smith here in just a few minutes about the Paige Valley Fair and Luray, and a little bit about the Shenandoah County Fair that's happening right now in Woodstock. The first round of action is just about ready to get underway. The fall date for Chaos in the Valley, the 9th edition of Chaos in the Valley. They number their events kind of like they do in UFC. Fall date, October the 20th at Shenandoah County Fairgrounds, Woodstock, Virginia. Showtimes, 5 o'clock. Compacts, stock V8s, modified V8s in the SUV class, monster builds, monster payouts. It all goes to benefit Tom's River Volunteer Fire Department. Last year, the compact winner was supposed to go home with $5,000 and went home with $8,000. All the extra money that came in, they poured it into the purse. It worked out awesome. Also, they're going to have that raffle car put together by Team Cardiac Arrest, Josh Wilkins. That's been in mothball since last year. Since you can't take a fresh car to the feature, the guy that won it got $1,000 instead of getting the car. So that is waiting in the wings as well. So, without further ado, we're going to call Justin Smith. What did I do with the phone? There it is. Got it back now. So Justin accidentally got bumped from first to last in the order tonight due to some scheduling challenges. Initially, we wanted to have him booked at 6 o'clock, and then we brought Candice, and she was staying at work. And then Dave had his bowling league, so we had to bump him to the middle spot to make sure that we got him time as well. So without delay, we've got Justin Smith coming on to talk a little bit about the Paige Valley Fair. There's Justin. Justin is on right now. Justin, how are you?
Doing good, sir.
That's good to hear. So Paige Valley, we talked a little bit about some of the changes that have been enacted down there, taking nothing away from the previous promoters, but it added a little bit of stability to the Shenandoah region as a whole. You got 60 cars this year, which was a nice pickup. Got almost 20 Power Wheels, sort of following in line with some of the changes that have been made at the Shenandoah County Fair itself and some of the preliminary preseason and postseason events that they do with Chaos in the Valley. What do you think? Do you kind of agree with that as being the catalyst to seeing Derby have a little bit of a resurgence and these divisions being a little bit more stable?
Oh, yeah. I mean, because with me and a buddy of mine, Justin Foltz, we had started the idea with the Power Wheels Derby about actually last year. And our first year, we had 12 kids. It was a pretty good turnout for our first year. And then, like I said, this year we had right at 20. And then all of our sponsors, everything we have sponsors-wise is donated.
Right.
So for our trophies, our Mad Dog trophies, we even had cash prizes for first, second, and third, and also had cash prizes for the rest of the kids also. Sure. For that. And then on the Derby side of things, I mean, excuse me, the Sergeant Sons, the guys that promoted, I mean, they really, since they don't do Power Wheels Derbies, since they've let us do it, I mean, with us helping them, I mean, I've seen last year they did 2 nights, and they had about 60 cars in 2 nights, and then this year it really, doing only 1 night really helped it out.
Mm-hmm. What are they doing in terms of their rules there? Is it similar to what they've got at Woodstock, or is the region still really broke up the way that it used to be? I remember probably 10 years ago, there was a different rule book for every fair, so you had to weld or cut no matter what to get the cars from one event to another, especially if you had something silly happen, like let's say a starter goes out when you're pulling out of the line, so the car's perfectly fine and you don't have a spare with you. In order to get it to fit another one of events that was in the region, you had to do either major changes or major unbuilding to the car.
I know with Sargent Sons, which used to be Nationwide.
Right.
Because when their dad ran everything, he mostly had everything with bone stock rules.
Right.
And now they've implemented this year where you can run mod cars in full size class.
Sure.
You had a mod size, full size class, and then you had a welded 4-cylinder and 6-cylinder class, along with the bone stock for all three classes.
Mm-hmm.
And I mean, compared to what they run over at Chaos in the Valley, the mod rules, from my understanding, are pretty similar, because one of the guys, actually two of the guys that actually run at Shenandoah County, they were actually there they ran at Harrisonburg, which was last weekend that Sergeant Sons put on, and then they were going to run this weekend too, but it was only 2 cars that showed up.
Only 2 cars showed up where?
For Paige, for the mod class.
Oh, for the mod class. So
yeah, they had last weekend, or not last weekend, weekend before last at Rockingham, the show that Sergeant Sons put on. They had Josh Orndorff. He ran over there with about the same build car as what Chaos normally runs.
Yeah. Josh is a phenomenal driver too. He comes from some good lineage too.
Really
Billy's
is. The whole family is.
Billy does okay for himself too. Well, I mean, that's good to hear for the region down there. Have you ever thought about getting into promoting the big car stuff, or are you content just to focus on the compacts or the power wheels?
Actually, on Friday before the Derby started, the guy that was helping me get everything together that works for the fair board, he had actually made a mention of saying if we would want to.
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm.
And then there's been a thing on Facebook here for about the past 2 days where one of the guys that I have on Facebook has made a mention of trying to do a spring show down at Paige.
Okay.
So like with the fire department and stuff like that, and Brian from Sergeant Sons had commented on it and saying they would be willing to.
Right.
I don't know. I guess Brian and them Sergeant Sons would have to get in touch with the fair board and
sure.
Go from there for a spring.
Right. There's lots of loops to jump through still, but it certainly isn't impossible to make happen. You know, that's the weird thing about the way that Derby has evolved now, is that it's just as busy. Again, you've got your fair season that typically, no matter where you are in the country, runs more or less from the end of June until right around Labor Day or the week after. But it is getting very, very dense in the April, May time frame and in the late September, October time frame. No matter where you are, there's more of these standalone shows popping up with more and more momentum around them. I mean, just up here, we've got a Derby every weekend after Labor Day. September 8th is Lake Erie Rumble in Dunkirk. Then we've got Hillbilly Heaven down in Lisbon. Then the 22nd, there was a Derby someplace. The 29th is Wheel Days. The first weekend of October is the San Filippo Smash, and then there's the cleanup show at Paradise Speedway. So I mean, there's 6 or 7 derbies one weekend after another. That's not even tied to a fair, and you guys are starting to see that down there. Chaos in the Valley's had 9 derbies themselves, and all of them have been either April or October dates. Yeah,
because I know with the spring shows that Chaos does, it's them and then another show, I think in June around here. That's really the only 2 shows from April to June that is really, might as well say, in the springtime, and then you start out with your fair season. And then after that,
I thought Rockingham had a show that was sort of springtime-ish before the fair season really got going. It might have been closer to the beginning of June.
Well, they back years ago, it was called Hose Company. One of the local fire departments put it on, but they haven't done that for years. It's been a couple years since that's been done.
King's had it the last year that it was down there, right? The Rumble at the Rock?
I believe so, yeah.
Okay. All right. I'm showing my age because I remember that. I remember that vividly. That was one of the best finishes to a Derby that I've ever seen.
Yeah. And like I said, because in the fall, I think the only two really shows in Virginia that I know of, I know that Sergeant Sons, I think they go to Dublin, Virginia, and then you have Chaos in the Valley for the fall show, and then you have the State Fair show down towards Richmond.
Right.
I mean, that's really the only three shows that I know of in Virginia in the fall.
There's one at Virginia Motor Speedway too, isn't there?
I believe so, but I'm not really for sure.
I don't remember the date though. I don't remember the date, and I just remember hearing that that having one. Now I'm starting to think. I think Old Dominion. Is that racetrack still open?
I think so. Yeah.
Old Dominion used to have one.
I think Old Dominion Raceway is still open. Yeah.
Well, I think Old Dominion used to have one, and then I believe they used to have a small one at the Sheeler Motorplex down closer to. That's down like Salem and Roanoke area. That's a little bit further south. But again, I don't remember the dates, and for that matter, those might be completely gone now. I mean, that's going back. That's going back. Wow, that's going back 15 years now. I didn't even think about that until I started putting the math together in my head. Yeah, so, you know.
Because I know, like I said, Sergeant Sons, they only run 3 Virginia shows. And then after this weekend, I think, or last weekend, excuse me, this weekend they go to Shippensburg, Pennsylvania to do a fair show up there.
Right. They used to go Monday and Tuesday there and then go diagonally from where you're at in Virginia all the way up to the upper corner close to Zanesville for a Derby up in that corner of Pennsylvania, basically overnight. They had a tough travel leaving Woodstock and getting up there for the next one. But
they really know what they're doing. They're very very classy guys, and I mean, and the thing about it is they don't seem like they've even dropped a beat since Sergeant passed away either. I mean, that's the good thing.
Right. Mike used to be in charge of it, and then when he passed away, the boys took it over, and I remember the boys used to be quite no nonsense down in Virginia, and I don't know if that has changed any or not. With the evolution,
like last year when they ran Paige, they like you said last week, they turned somebody down last year, right? And people was complaining that they wasn't making consistent rules. Mm-hmm. That they weren't sticking with the rule package and more or less letting anything and everything run. Right. And then they cracked down on it at Rockingham the week before that fair, and then they cracked down on it at Paige last year too. So right.
That was a major critique of of them when they were in Woodstock, and it's good to hear. But I've only heard good things. You know, I don't want anybody to walk away from this thinking they were beating up on what used to be Nationwide and now Sergeant Sons. I that's not the point. The point that you should take away from this conversation is that area needed to have a facelift. The drivers were calling for it, and that's been more or less enacted. Having that driver loaded up last year at Paige Valley changed the complexion of that Derby significantly, and they've been able to reap some of the benefits of that. So given a couple of years, if they stay true to their word and keep following the rule book that's out there, I think they've got a bright future in front of them, just like Woodstock's got. I mean, Woodstock supports 4 derbies through the course of the year. They've got the fall show, the 2 at the fair, and then the 1 at the end. And the car counts there are pretty good. A lot of the guys there, you know, they complain, well, we used to have 100, we used to have this. That's the story everywhere. The days of 100 cars are more or less, they're more or less gone. I'm not going to say that they're gone forever, but for the most part, the county fairs aren't drawing those kind of numbers. And the quality of cars that are showing up in that area, they're good builds. I mean, they're good builds.
Yeah, the bone stock class this year, Paige, they actually had 2 heats and a feature. That's awesome. That's the first time I've actually seen 2 heats and a feature in a bone stock class in a while. See, most of the guys from, I would say, probably my area, which is Paige County and south, if you're from that area, most of the time they just mostly have time to build bone stock work cars. Right. But then you have your guys like Kingery and Orndorff and the Orndorff's Mark Wolf. I mean, like I said, I think he ran last year at Rockingham too.
I believe he did.
And they bring the cars from my class, so that's why actually they implemented a new class this year for sergeant sons that have strictly bone stock rules and then have strictly mod rules.
Right. Well, that's good. I mean, they're answering what the drivers need, and I think that's a good thing. Justin, we're almost out of time. I'm glad that you came on to hang out with us for a little while. Did we hit on most of the stuff that you wanted to hit on? I know the Power Wheels were a big thing for you. Was there anybody else that you wanted to make mention of?
Yeah, I'd like to. Like I said, my buddy of mine, Justin Foltz, for helping me set everything up for the Power Wheels Derby this year. Ronnie Painter with the Paige Valley Fair for getting everything going. And then the sponsors for the fair, 7-Eleven in Shenandoah, Virginia, Reed's Tire Center in Stanley, Partners First Federal Credit Union in Stanley, and Semper Fi Fab Shop in Stanley with James Knight, and the guy who makes the trophy, DNL Trophy out of Shenandoah.
Awesome. Justin, I appreciate you coming on the show and hanging out with us for a little while. We'll have to do it again.
Yes, sir. Sounds good.
Thanks, Justin. We'll talk to you soon.
You have a good evening.
You too. There goes Justin Smith. That's going to do it. Episode 240 in the books. We're going to be back here on the following, probably not Labor Day, the following Tuesday, I think, is when we're going to do it, right before we get back into the swing of things for school. We appreciate everybody coming on and hanging out with us for a little while, and we'll be back again next week. We'll see you then.
Crash Course Live is presented by
Smash It Demolition Derby, who host Bash for Cash, Blizzard Bash, and Capital City Carnage. Online at smashitderby.com. And Stirring Dirt Racing, hosts of Maymania's team show at the Golden Spike Arena in Ogden, Utah. Online at stirringdirtracing.com.
Reckless Abandon Derby Apparel, and Derby Inc. Magazine. This is the Crash Course Demolition Derby podcast, recorded live at the FingerLakes1.com studios in downtown Seneca Falls, New York.